Welcome back to the Journeys with JP on Revolution Radio and Wall Spirit Radio and No Borders Radio. Am I on No Borders? Oh, I should be on No Borders Radio. And also everbeyondradio.com. We have a delightful, charming, intelligent, beautiful, funky, hip, groovy, cool, and many other adjectives that can be used to describe none other than Katie Gallanti. Hello, Katie. How are you?
How does one live up to that?
just be all of that. Just be yourself, and you're all of those. That's all.
Okay, great.
And more. I mean, for God's sake, you've got about 6 doctorates or something, haven't you? Like, no, 3.
No. I'm finishing my second doctorate.
Second, that's at least 200% more than mine. I haven't got an O level.
Yeah. I've got 2 master's degrees and almost 2 doctorates.
Yeah, see, intellectual giant among midgets here. So, if I crane my neck up to see where the top of your... so anyway, but basically I've been prepping everybody in the last hour. We've been talking about the externalization of satanic ritual. Some of the
excellent
components. I'm gone?
Excellent.
So things like the sacrifice of your friend, the mass louche, the sacrifice, and then the ritual, and the big party. I was actually going to talk about the Beltane, the Mayfair one, but let's deal with the issues, the ISIS issues at hand. Let's get to the heart of the matter right away. Welcome, Katie Gallanti, and I'll shut the heck up.
Very sweet. Okay. So you've already been prepping the ground as to what these rituals are all about and what they're doing with them, and basically there is one big gigantic harvesting of energy on the one hand, and it's a manifestation ritual on another hand. That means they use that energy to actually put out what it is that they're trying to create, and with that they manifest the next level of their plan. Okay. And, these very, in theory, harmless events like the Golden Globes Awards or the Oscars or the VMAs and all the rest of it become instead these big kind of like harvesting extravaganzas. And it's interesting because yesterday you and I did a show, and in fact people can go and listen to that on the archives, or I'm going to put that yesterday's show on YouTube as well tomorrow when I have time to do it. But
you can get it from the Wall Spirit Radio archives and also from Katie's site and from my site.
Yeah, exactly. So, and there you will get a lot of the details that we have already covered about why we think Robin Williams might most likely have been a blood sacrifice. Did you cover that already in your intro?
I didn't discuss specifics. I was just talking about the generalities in order to prepare the ground for like how this particular ritual fits in with this particular thing and what they're trying to achieve. So hopefully everybody should be up to speed if they've been listening, and if I've been putting it across right, up to speed on what you're about to say.
All right. Okay. So basically, I'll just do a little kind of like nuts and bolts on the Robin Williams piece, because I think it's the lead into the next piece, okay? And to do that, I'm also going to do a little tiny bit about the Philip Senior Hoffman piece in February, okay? So, because these are all linked together, these rituals, they build on one another. If you wanted, you could build them up from 2012 onwards. You could do a string of them, and they're all building on top of one another, like all of the false flag shootings, Sandy Hook, the Aurora shootings and all the rest of it, the one in Las Vegas earlier this year. They all have a theme, and they're all running into each other, okay? However, what is notable about these particular blood sacrifices is that very often these blood sacrifices happen on very specific days of the year that are either Druidic days that have to do with the cult of the sun and the moon, okay? So equinoxes, solstices, and the half-season points like Beltane, and also Imbolc, and all those other ones, right? There's other ones that are like the...
And also the moons, the full and new moons, are times when you start and finish things, or you culminate things.
Absolutely. And this particular blood sacrifice, the last one that happened just now, that I believe is a blood sacrifice, that is Robin Williams, happened the day before the supermoon, right? It was August 12th. It also happened 2 days before Hecate's day, who is the goddess of death and chaos, okay? The ritual, and then very often these rituals are then used, these blood sacrifices are then used to gather energy that gets fueled into the next ritual, which very often ends up being one of these music award, movie award type ceremonies, okay? And yesterday you and I were talking and I was like, well, there's no ceremony, so I don't know what they're doing, and I completely blitzed out on the VMAs. It's like I completely didn't remember, because I've been so busy. I was like, I didn't remember that the VMAs were not only coming up, but they were literally yesterday. Okay.
So what's VMA?
The VMAs is the I can't remember what V means, but it's music awards, and it's the MTV. It's MTV's music award ceremony. Okay.
Oh yeah, they're always good for a good bit of Satanism.
Absolutely, because the MTV is a satanically Masonic organization in the first place, and people can do research on that, and they will find a lot of stuff if they want to. Okay, like the organization itself has those kind of roots anyway. And if you remember last year, we had the whole twerking thing with the tongue sticking out with Miley Cyrus at the last VMAs. It was at exactly the same time. However, because yesterday I was researching about upcoming satanic holidays, right, I had already spotted August 24th as the upcoming satanic holiday, but there was nothing written about it. And in fact, I've been looking around, and it's called Saint Bartholomew, and the only thing that I found about it is that apparently it's preparation to the September 7th ritual that is called the marriage to the beast. That is basically a big canoodling with the reptilian demon ritual, right?
That was on Doctor Who last night. I'm not kidding. I just watched Doctor Who, and there is a reptilian, as a lesbian reptilian couple who are Doctor Who's friends, and they were snogging on screen. No kidding. Snogging on screen on Doctor Bloody Who.
Yeah, I believe you.
So not only is that you know, I don't know how many things actually, that might be.
What you're saying, so you're saying that it was actually on the TV on the ritual day.
On Saturday,
right?
On Saturday, yeah.
So, and it's important to pay attention to that kind of stuff, because on TV they have their own stuff going on that creates rituals. For example, on the night in which, night in the UK and morning in America, in which it was announced that Robin Williams died, literally minutes before, an episode of Family Guy was airing in which they were showing an episode that was called Fat Man and Robin, in which Robin Williams in which this guy had special powers that turned everybody into Robin Williams, and got so distressed about it that he wanted to kill himself, and even his gun turned into Robin Williams, right? So the only solution that he had to get out of it was to cut off his own hands, and in the last scene he's sitting at the table with cut off hands and blood all over the table, surrounded by Robin Williams. Now that is like, okay, this is our blood sacrifice, and all the Robin Williams are sitting at the table, right? So anyway, so I started to put all of these things together, and very likely the Robin Williams thing was the blood sacrifice for the VMAs that are then the ritual for creating something else. So today I actually sat and watched the whole of the VMAs, right? Because I got nothing else to do. I'm like one of the busiest people on the planet. Yeah. So I got fast forwarded through some bits, right? And it was kind of interesting. I mean, one of the things that was interesting, first of all, you've done interviews before with the people that talk about the sigils and sigil magic, right?
Yes, Bonnie and John.
Bonnie and John,
Mitchell.
Yeah, and they do the sigil stuff, and they've actually done some really good research, I think, on the whole sigil magic stuff. And one of the things that they talk about is about the ubiquitous spinning circles, and one of the reasons which they use the spinning circles is because they create a hypnotic state. So if you look at a lot of the introductions to things like the news, do you know what I mean, stuff like that, you will see that there's all these spinning circles. And so they're kind of like hypnotically inducing you at the beginning of the program.
That's right, even counter-rotating.
Absolutely.
Arcs, usually. Spinning arcs around a circular thing. It's very, very hypnotic. If you look at even the Kaiser report, Kaiser report, with good old Max Kaiser, he's a nice guy, but the background is all this stuff that they're talking about is going on behind Max as he was speaking. I think that's why he moved to London, to have that vista, because he didn't like all the mind control part of it. Yeah. Anyway, go ahead.
So the first thing that you'll notice when you look at the VMAs that is on YouTube, you can watch it, all of it, if you have an hour and a half to kill, is spinning circles everywhere. The whole stage is spinning circles. Everything is spinning circles, okay? So it's one big hypnosis thing. Everybody there is watching stuff that is spinning. You're watching it as a viewer, but also the audience is watching it at the same time, right? And a lot of radial stuff that looks like the sun, do you know what I mean, and so on, with all the rays and everything. We know that light in their mythology has more to do with Lucifer than it has to do with nice light, right? Like they use the light as a symbol for the light bearer Lucifer, okay? So there's a lot of sun worship type imagery. There's sun rays, Lucifer ray, do you know what I mean? All that kind of stuff. Spinning circles make everybody kind of go into this hypnotic state. And then the stage itself is 3 sixes, one inside the other.
All right, not that obvious then.
Not that obvious, right? And the circle, you know how there's the Google Chrome thing that is 3 sixes inside one another, right?
Yep.
It's like 1 6, and each arm is around it, and so it makes a circle. The stage is kind of like that, but it's like an electric blue thing. But if you look at it from above, it's 3 sixes. It's 6 6 6, one inside the other. Okay, and the circle of the 6 is the actual stage, and the 3 legs of the 6s are the 3 shoots off of the stage where people walk out and then perform. Okay. So that's the first thing. Then after that, you see Ariana Grande that walks out of a pyramid-shaped spaceship that has a big egg in it. And it's interesting because that is imagery that was associated to one of Lady Gaga's performances at some point, the big egg, right? And also the pyramid spaceship is very similar to last year's awards with Miley Cyrus that was coming out of it and doing her tongue sticking out thing, right? And her kind of like strange ritual at the time, okay? The
externalization of the twerk ritual.
The twerk ritual, but also there was a lot of, that one with the tongue that falls out is actually a goddess, right, of the Indian pantheon, if you go and have a look at it. That has to do with destruction, right, creation and destruction, but mostly with destruction. So even if she looked like a complete idiot doing that, the purpose of it was to invoke a deity of destruction that is the same deity that was invoked on August 13th, do you know what I mean, through the blood sacrifice that was fueling this particular ritual. And we've talked before about the fact that the reason for which they're invoking all of this is because they're trying to create the energy to conjure up a world conflict, which they've already kind of started brewing the pot for with the Israeli invasion of Gaza, and that happened on July 17th. That was the birthday of Isis, right? So they've been cooking this. All summer they've been cooking ritual elements, okay? Also, I'm going to go back for a second to Philip Seymour Hoffman, who was most likely a blood sacrifice that was then used towards the... I'm trying to think what it was. I think it was the Grammys.
We were talking about that last year, weren't we? I mean, this is like
yes, we were.
A subject, and I think it's right. There was that the Grammys? Was that the one?
Yeah, I think it was the Grammys.
Which was the one that had Nicki Minaj doing this awful, awkward thing?
That was 2012, and she was doing the whole Roman Polanski. She was invoking that energy at the time, right? Each one of these rituals, they're invoking energies. They're bringing them in, right? So she was invoking the energies that were around the whole Manson killings and Roman Polanski, and, you know, it was a very, very charged demonic energy that she was pulling in at that time. And that ritual was in preparation for the Olympics. That was another ritual still. Okay, so that is what I mean when I was saying at the beginning. I actually maybe should write this stuff down at some point, but basically there's one big ritual that started pretty much in 2000, at the beginning of 2012, and it hasn't really stopped, okay? There's been other ones before, but this is almost like a build-up. Literally every season, they're literally following this calendar, okay? To the point that, a friend of mine, Robert Phoenix, was actually predicted that there was going to be an August one, because it's becoming predictable. They're doing it so much that it's actually predictable, okay?
So it seems that they're using every single opportunity. Now, my feeling about this is that the reason that they're doing it so much is because they're behind schedule, and they're trying to push as much as they can, as far as they can, given the tiny amount of time that they've got left, that this opportunity will pass.
Yes.
What is the opportunity for?
The opportunity, and I may lose a few listeners here, and it's fine.
Who cares? But we'll gain the good ones. Bless you if you listen still.
Try to keep an open mind here, people. Okay. The opportunity is the opening of the solar galactic doorway of energy that is coming in onto the planet right now, that comes in every, I don't know how many thousands of years. Okay, the last time was Atlantis, and before that, there was other cycles. It's not just about Earth. It has to do it's almost like a cosmic clock. Okay, and when this cosmic clock is ticking, all right, there is an opportunity for an energy shift. All right. And the energy shift is literally the same. I always make this example. If you send energy into an atom, right, the electrons jump to the next level. They go to the next level. And if you sustain that energy, they stay there, okay? If you don't sustain it, they jump back down because they're more comfortable wherever they were before, okay? We have a mechanism in the galaxy timetable clock, whatever, right now, where there literally is an influx of energy, and the energy has a consciousness activating function as well. When this energy comes in, there's this opportunity for this jump, okay? And the jump is literally, everything is jumping. Matter is jumping, but so are we. And so is our consciousness. It's one of the reasons which the sun is doing all sorts of weird stuff at the moment, and people get really bad headaches and weird symptoms with the solar flares, right? Okay. And they know this stuff, and it's one of the reasons which NASA is actually one of the biggest lying institutions on the planet, in the sense that they show you just a tiny, tiny bit, right? And most of it is manufactured for public consumption. I mean, but they know more than what they're letting on, okay? Now, this consciousness shift is both an opportunity and a threat to the Illuminati, because they can ride this wave and take us to the next level of darkness if they want to, okay? Consciousness shift doesn't necessarily mean positive consciousness shift. There's been a misunderstanding here. There's people that think that, oh, this is just energy coming in and everything becomes, wonderful, right? It's not necessarily. It can go to the next level of dark energy as well, okay? And so that is what they're trying to do, okay? And there's a timetable for it. And because at some point this particular energy will start to dissipate and it will go away, and whatever it is that has been accomplished, it will either be done or not done. And one of the things that we're doing, whether we know it or not, right, because we may know this consciously or not, is that we are doing the exact opposite of what they're doing, and it is that we're raising consciousness in the other direction, and we're actually trying to take this planet back. Because in the history of the planet, this planet at some point was light, okay? Hasn't always been infested by this particular kind of rulership and energy. And so what we are trying to do is to basically use this same energy to take the planet back into a high consciousness level. And what they're doing is they're trying to do the opposite. So we've got two different pulls here. And depending on, who is successful to some degree, we will have an overall, how can you call it? I don't know. Timeline. Let's call it a timeline that stabilizes and becomes like the ruling timeline, at least for a while.
We can see, people now have experienced having different operating systems. It's different to have, people have had like Windows 98, and now and then XP, and then we've got Windows 7 and Windows 8, and that's it. It basically informs the way people think. You think the way of Windows 8, and you think in terms of tablets and apps and this and that. But if you're thinking in terms of Windows 97, you're thinking, there's my program up there, and there's my data, and all. You have a different way of thinking, a different paradigm.
Yeah.
And what many people never knew is that you can take that and you can theme that paradigm however you like. You can make your operating system look like however you want. You can put first of all, you put your decoration up. You can, you put your curtains up. You've got your, you put a lick of paint on it. You change the color schemes and things like that. You can personalize your universe in your operating system. Then boom, your computer crashes. You have to get a new one, and you have to deal with the new operating system. Mm-hmm. And so here we are. We're at the same issue, and the thing is that there are basically two major it's like apples and apples and Windows,
Yep.
And Linux doesn't really get much of a look in because they don't want people to be Linux. Linux is like what organic. It's like, okay, so here's my thing about the whole transhuman thing. I think transhumanism is a necessary part of evolution, but there's an organic transhumanism and an artificial, archonic transhumanism. One of them is that we become more silicon and more crystalline and greater understanding and greater wisdom. And the other is that we are silicon with metal attached and implanted and reduced and turned into an even better battery than we have been for the last God knows how many thousands of years. To me, that seems to be the choice. And the death industry, in fact, industry itself, is what is driving the archonic version, and people like yourself and myself and all the people who are expressing the truth realize that it's an actual organic process, and we're going to go through it anyway, but we have to do it on our own terms.
Yep,
am I making sense?
Yep, you are. You're making sense. And you're very right about the transhumanist thing, because we have to go to the next level, but we will go to the next level within our own energetic setup, in the sense that we already have all of the equipment for the organic transhumanism inside us. And we have actually been deactivated. It's almost like, to use your computer analogy, imagine that you have a computer where you switch off several components and it only runs on a very tight, set of parameters.
That's right. I've actually been dealing with a computer like that. Somebody's got a computer that doesn't have the basic, it doesn't have email. It doesn't have even the most basic email or notepad program.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like, I come in and I'm expecting, just set up, Outlook Express and boom, and be on the web, because it's part of the system. As an IT guy, I know that it's part of the Windows system. It always has been. And suddenly, by golly gosh, Bill Gates, you greedy little man. You greedy little man. Sorry, I've gone all Stewie on you. You've taken bits and you've done to a good operating system that you created first. You've Anunnakid it. you've dumbed it down. You've made it so stupid, and then you've sold it more expensive. You absolute. I can't even say that word. It's used as a punctuation in Scotland, in Glasgow usually, but it cannot be used to describe any human on the radio. But you understand what I'm saying. He's not a nice person. He's not at all. So Anyway, so go ahead. So I'm out of rant, but not out of rant. I could go on for hours, but. If you got, you've got basically the choice that you can create your own reality, and that doesn't mean that you can't join others in creating a reality between you, because that's even more powerful.
Yeah, but also,
go.
Let's talk a second on this, okay? Because it's important. We're creating reality anyway. It's not a choice of we're creating reality anyway. Every time we do something, think about something, we're projecting out a reality, and as a collective, we are constantly creating a reality. And at the moment, we are creating. One of the things that we have to learn to do is to create reality consciously, because we are. Energetically, we project our energy and create a reality anyway. This is one of the reasons which the elite does these rituals in the first place. Because what they're doing is that they are hypnotizing everybody into syncing up with what they want to create. And to do this, what they do is that they use ritual magic. But this ritual magic has the appearance of being a music award or a Grammys or a festival or whatever, do you know what I mean, or a concert or whatever. But it's not. It's a ritual magic ceremony. And what they're doing is that they are focusing everybody's energy with those spinning circles and the 666 stage. And this particular, I'm going to go back to these particular VMAs. If you go back and you look at this particular VMAs, Nicki Minaj was doing the next piece, and she was dressed in snake skins, singing a song called Anaconda, faking sex on stage with her dancers. That's a sex ritual, invoking reptilian energy and making everybody that's watching it getting into a sex vibration, right? So that everybody is aroused, watching spinning circles, watching people perform sex acts, and blah-de-blah-de-blah, okay? Then after that, there were 3 singers that were singing together. All of them are dressed in black and white colors. So you got one singer is dressed in black, the other one in black with little white dots, the other one with white and little black dots. That's a hypnotic induction thing as well. So first of all, you have the sex thing, then you have another hypnotic induction. Then after that, they actually showed a little spinning thing of all pictures of Robin Williams, because they always do this at all these awards. Somebody just died, and they show you a picture. They always show you the person that they killed for the ritual. Okay. They actually always make a little tribute to that person. Very often that person's contract expired. They made a contract, they made a pact for a certain amount of time, and then at some point, because they sold they call it soul, but let's call it the incarnational essence, they sold it to the elite. So then the elite takes it back. When their contract is expired, they reabsorb it. That's going on during these things as well. It was part of the ritual, okay? Then after that, there was various other things, and then right at the end, there was Beyonce that went on forever. And I was like, why is she singing 25 million songs? And apparently, she was nominated as Great Living Entertainer of the Year and given the Michael Jackson Award, which was another sacrifice. Okay? So they tied that in together as well.
Oh, will we see her being sacrificed soon then?
No, I don't think so.
No?
But yeah, no, she's too powerful, this one. And she's totally in alignment with their agenda. Also, the other thing that they did here, I've lost my train of thought now, just 1 second, okay. Okay, yeah, they gave an award to Katy Perry, and so she sang the Dark Horse song again, okay? And that was a death ritual, Dark Horse of the Apocalypse, Denver Airport, Nazi murals, do you know what I mean? Death of Philip Seymour Hoffman, they tied that into it as well. When they then got to the final piece, the whole of Beyonce's performance was all like a big sex thing, okay? And inclusive of Masonic chair dance and all the rest of it. So all of this, I'm going through it because if you look at it this way, then you can see that it's like a build-up of energy, okay? And it was happening on this day that is the 24th, so they're gathering energy. It's a sex ritual on using energy harvested at the supermoon that is a harvest moon, okay? End of summer, just about to go the energy into Virgo. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of stuff going on here. And with that, then they create the next thing. My sense is that the next thing, as I say, they're gathering energy for some, you know, they're gathering energy on one level to have some kind of conflict that is going to then put people into a fear state, right? Survival, all the rest of it, so that they can manipulate the energy further. They don't really care about having a war. The war is a device. The war is a device to get people to lower their frequency very fast. A little war that nobody cares about that happens over there, not a big deal, but a big war that everybody's freaked out about will get everybody to go into their lower chakras that are basically about fear and survival, right? Especially if you start killing a lot of people, that's what you get. Now, if you want people not to go into their higher levels of consciousness, which is where the energy would take them naturally if these people were not interfering, right, at the moment, during this window of opportunity, the antidote to taking people out of that high state of consciousness is to create as much disruption as possible that will take people into the lower consciousness. Because most people are not aware of the fact that they manifest reality, so they're not aware of it, okay? They will not be aware that by doing that, they are manifesting a lower vibrating timeline as a collective, okay? That's actually what this is all about. It's about getting the collective to bind with them in manifesting a lower vibrating timeline.
That's right.
So that,
and they do that by rooting you in the past constantly, by reminding you of the past and other places every day in the news and every day on television.
And by traumatizing you, but also by flooding you constantly with very dark sexual energy. Sexual energy is a beautiful thing, right? And if you use it properly, you can have orgasmic experiences that take the energy right into your crown, and you can go into the infinite. Okay. However, sexual energy that is used in association with dark energy and dark forces, that are what most of these rituals are about, okay, and make you open up in a way that allows these dark forces to attach themselves to you. That is one of the reasons which there's rampant free pornography on the internet, because they want people to vibrate that way, okay? They could take it down if they wanted to, but they don't, because that is part of the program. It's part of the program to have this really dark vibrating sexual energy that is about immediate release, but it's aligning with kind of sadistic and dark kind of energy. I don't know how to explain it another way. That is like...
Yeah, basically, let's just put a pause and a pin on that, because this is part of it, and it's very strong, and again, it's another part of what I call the death industry, which is the pornography industry, which is part of the human trafficking branch of the military-industrial complex, prison complex. And that's to do with, on one hand, it's to do with the production of death movies, snuff movies, for the pleasure of people who are so into Satanism that they can't get pleasure by any other means than by seeing somebody suffer terribly. Yes,
because they get addicted to particular kind of chemicals and hormones that get released through that also get released through death, do you know what I mean, like, and so on, and they get addicted to that kind of stuff, okay? But the main thing that they're trying to do, I'm a healer, so I'm talking from the point of view of energy healing and human energy systems and consciousness, okay? And all of these things are meant to disrupt the natural chakra flow of the human being that is meant to go from the root to the crown. There's 7 chakras, the energy goes through from the root to the crown. When the energies are all clean and aligned, and the energy moves inside the human being from the root chakra to the crown, and it's free flow without any blockages and all the rest of it, the consciousness of the human being expands. Human being develops a natural expansion into its own light body, okay? And through this, it perceives other dimensional realities. It has all of the clear skills that we're all supposed to have. Some people have them because they do, but we're all supposed to have them. The human being is designed to have clear skills, like clairvoyance, clairsentience, all of that kind of stuff, clairaudience, blah, blah, okay? We're supposed to have these skills. They're part of who we are. And, but you don't have any of those skills. First of all, if you have a closed up heart chakra, the energy stops at the solar plexus and it doesn't go anywhere, okay? So if you don't know how to love your fellow human, right, that is never going to happen. Now, like your energy gets stuck kind of around your diaphragm, okay? Now, even if you do that, if the energy then needs to go into your third eye, through your throat chakra is fine, most people are okay with that, but it needs to go into your third eye and into your crown. And when it goes into the third eye, your clair skills start lighting up. When it goes into your crown, your connection to source or to the all that is or to the natural flow of the universe, whatever you want to call it, but also your connection to your own multidimensionality switches on, okay? So they don't want that. So if these energies from the solar galactic field are actually very triggering to the chakra system, they come in, they activate the chakra system, and they take the energy from the root to the crown very spontaneously. And this is also one of the reasons which people are having a hard time, because our chakra system is full of blockages, right? And the blockages, the energy comes in, and the blockages get stimulated, so people have a lot of symptoms, emotional, physical, psychological, nervous system type symptoms for being overstimulated by the energy, because their system is full of blockages, because we live in a really messed up world, right? But if we had not been tampered with since Atlantis, early Egypt, probably even before that, to operate at half-mast, right, we would do fine with these energies, and we would very naturally go into a very heightened state. And we would very naturally also get rid of this stuff that's going on this planet. We would manifest another reality, okay? They know this, so they have to do everything that they can to disrupt that flow and to traumatize people so that they end up stuck into their lowest chakras, that are the root, that is about fear and survival and security, right? And the second chakra, that is about sexuality, that can go either way. But they use the second chakra as a anchor point for demonic energy that anchors into those chakras through the opening that is created by, like, to experience sexual energy, you have to open that chakra. When you open that chakra in the presence of negative energy, it has a way of going in and attaching itself there, okay? So that then lowers the vibration of that person. It's also why a lot of people are addicted to things like pornography, because it's not actually them that is addicted to it, it's the entities that are attached to them, okay? That are like, oh, I think it would be a good idea for you to switch on the internet right now. You know, so that they can get more energy food, because they feed on this stuff, right?
So it's anyway, really weird having a name that sounds very much like Ron Jeremy. Why do you think that? That's why I call myself JP. You know?
Excellent. So, by the way, we talked yesterday about the ice bucket challenge, right?
Oh yeah, and go for that.
That's part of it too. The people, just think about this a second. People are throwing buckets of ice on top of their own crown chakra, right? Ice bucket, Icy's bucket, and they're throwing a big bunch of ice, and ice is actually, in my view, the dark energy belongs to the ice because there's no warmth, okay? So this is a cooling down, rapid cooling down of the crown chakra. And if you look at these people, they look kind of traumatized when they're doing it, because it actually freezes up the blood vessels in your brain that are really close, right, to the surface. And I'm sure that some of them get really bad headaches as well doing this, okay? But it's a ritual. If you look at it, if you look at the people that are doing it, that are celebrities, and people are doing it and then they're nominating other celebrities to do it. And it's not a random nomination either. Katy Perry did her Ice Bucket Challenge, and she nominates Madonna. If you have done any research at all into the whole entertainment industry, priesthood, priestess type thing, Madonna is higher up than Katy Perry. But Katy Perry is most likely an initiate of Madonna. So she is doing her ritual, and if you look at it, she takes it very seriously. She has her arms outstretched while she's doing this, and she's doing it in a very ritualistic fashion. Go on YouTube, find the video, watch it, okay? And she nominates Madonna. Madonna is one step up, not two steps up, she's one step up from her on that ladder, okay? So, and if you look at the people, Steven Spielberg nominates George Lucas. Okay? He is nominated by Oprah Winfrey. These are all elite people. Every single one of them. And they're all nominating each other. Bill Gates is there, he's doing it. George Bush was nominated to do it. And he has a video online in which he gets ice bucketed by his own wife, right? Which I think is very telling, because it's a submission to Isis, right? The ritual is about...
very good. Submission to Isis. The Ice Queen. Laura,
That's right.
You'd never know. She's had so many facelifts, and nobody knows what she's feeling.
Well, nobody knows who she is really underneath all that, but I think it's very telling that in that video, she is the one that throws the bucket of ice onto him, because that's what I thought immediately when I saw it. That's a submission to Isis ritual, right? The whole of these rituals are that. They're doing so many different things at the same time, and then they're getting the whole population to traumatize their crown chakra, right? And everybody's doing it, and I don't know. It's very interesting and very bizarre, and it shows actually how most human beings don't really think stuff through. But then, why would you? Do you know what I mean? Like, why would you think it through? Although I don't think I would ever throw a bucket of ice on top of my own head. I don't know, right?
There are things that I tell them to kiss first. And over the dead things as well, kind of thing. You're not touching. Nobody touches my head.
Oh, that's right.
You shouldn't let anybody touch your head.
No, it's true.
Reiki practitioners. What level are they? Who trust them? Do they know anybody who's died mysteriously? Yep. You have to check your people out before you put trust in them. Doctors are no good either,
Just a little curiosity. This is literally a curiosity. It's not like a big deal, right? But I thought it was interesting. Because I was doing the watch all of the celebrities' videos to see what I was seeing, right? And I came across John Travolta. And John Travolta does his, and he makes this big introduction where he talks a whole bunch. And for whatever reason, the guy that uploaded this also decided to do a reverse speech of it. And I looked at his website. He's not an Illuminati researcher. I think he just did it for fun, right?
He's probably a Scientology researcher.
Who knows?
That's where Anonymous comes from, by the way. But anyway, go on.
Right. So anyway, in the backwards thing, you know how the reverse speech in theory reveals the thoughts of the subconscious mind?
Yes.
And so very often you can hear things in the reverse speech, and the people that are really into reverse speech think that the things that you hear are what the subconscious mind is really thinking, so you can get the truth from doing somebody's reverse speech. And I thought this was a whole bunch of garbage, right? But I remember staying with this woman that was really into it, and I was not having a good time, and she reversed my speech, and it was like, get me out of here, I want to go home.
Oh, wow.
Like, oh no, she got me. I didn't want to be there, right? And so I was like, oh, maybe there's something to this, because that was exactly what I was thinking. I wanted to get out. And I can't even remember what it is that I said, but it came out in the reverse speech, right? It was very awkward, because then I had to explain to her why I wanted to go home, right?
Those of you who wish to reverse the speech our shows will find a wealth of humour and salient information. And just don't get attached personally to it.
So anyway, the reverse speech of John Travolta, you can literally hear him say, I am afraid that I am going to get hit. But it didn't feel like get hit as in somebody going to smack me. It was like that I'm going to be the next hit kind of thing. And then he said, I am getting old. That was in the reverse speech.
Wow.
So I thought, isn't that interesting? Because if John Williams has just gone, right?
Robin.
And this, Robin Williams, and and John Travolta understands how things work, right? He may be thinking, I better put this ice bucket on my head fast, because, you never know that I may be next on the list here because I'm getting old. Do you know what I mean?
Could the ice bucket challenge be again one of these renewal of the contract kind of thing?
Absolutely. That's what it feels like. But it also feels like a submission to Isis. There's more to this Isis thing that meets the eye. Even the fact that they've called that they have called the next bad guy terrorist group ISIS. everything this summer is about Ices. And if you remember yesterday, I said that I'm not the biggest expert on Ices, but that I had found a website that was basically saying that, I've got my piece of paper here so I remember, that it was basically saying that every deity, like the Statue of Liberty has been made, people think it's Isis, and Columbia, people think it's Isis, and Mother Mary, people think that's Isis, like researchers in this field, right? And also, if you go back, Isis was the Egyptian version of this particular goddess, but if you go back to the Mesopotamian, Babylonian stuff, then this goddess was called Semiramis, and then before that it was called Ishtar. And she is the goddess of enchantment and magic. So the two goddesses that have been pulled forward this year, there's three energies that have been pulled forward this year. One is the goddess of enchantment and magic, so creation, they're trying to create something, trying to manifest something, okay, so they're pulling in energy. And then Hecate, sacrifice on the day of Hecate, death and chaos, she's the goddess of death and chaos. And also with Philip Senior Hoffman, the whole horse thing was brought in, and it was the death horse of the four horses of the apocalypse. So they were invoking that thought form, energy into the picture. Okay? So you can see what they're cooking, like just by looking at the energies that they're invoking, right? Okay? And Isis is a big deal right now. I think that I always find it kind of interesting that a lot of New Age people are really into Isis, and they think she's wonderful, and I don't think so. But even if I don't know that much about her, I know that if the elite are invoking her every 3 seconds, it can't be good.
Yep, that's right. Here's a question from Trixie. Does Katie have an idea what race or interdimensional faction this Ice Bucket Challenge serves? And indeed, when we say serve, we mean serve as dinner.
Well, what interdimensional faction? Well, it's always the answer there is the reptilian hybrid on one level, right? Reptilians and so on. The Dark Orions, I call them, the Dark Orions, because that's where they hail from, okay? And which are on this planet. They have been on this planet for a long time. They have visited many times, and then at some point they decided to stay and to infiltrate, okay? They do this, apparently, they're not the first and last place where they're going to play, and one of the reasons which it's quite important that we make this particular leap this time is because a lot of people have seen, and by people I mean high consciousness people that can see timelines and stuff, have that understanding, that if we don't nail this transition this time, they're going to export this out in a major way. Like it's going to really root, okay? And then attached to the Dark Orions are what I call the Dark Astral entities that are different still. They're not connected to anything galactic. They're literally a force.
We'll finish this sentence in just for a few minutes over on Wolf Spirit Radio. That's it for Revolution Radio. Thank you very much, and good night, everybody. It's been quite a dark thing. Go and watch some comedy. Cheer yourselves up. It's all right. Go and have some ice cream. Thank you very much. Good night. Okay, so we're still on the air. So just if you want to finish that thought, Katie, and
it's the dark side of the forces that are around, right? That are basically the Dark Orions and the dark energies that work through the Dark Orions. They don't work by themselves. Okay, the Dark Orions are like the physical manifestation, and they work in tandem with the dark spiritual force. Some people call this dark spiritual force the archons, right? I've never liked that word because it kind of boxes them in a way. I don't know. I don't resonate with it. because I've been dealing with that energy for like 15 years, and I see it in a slightly different way, right? But that's what a lot of people call that force. Okay, so it's the usual suspects.
Like I said, the same ladder that
right.
that I was talking to. That everybody, everybody has a finger that they point at, or a place that they point their finger at, and yeah, they're all places on the same ladder, or in the same flight of stairs.
Yes.
Or downwards. Anyway, so thanks very much, Katie.
All right, welcome.
It's been it's always a pleasure to banter and chat with you, talk about the way things are going to hell in an ice bucket. It's always good to enjoy the journey.
Absolutely,
because you never know where you're going to end up, and the journey. Good night, everybody. Now let me just see. I haven't really actually got the a sort of outro bumper, because we never had one. Oh, I think that's it. Is that it? Let me just see. Oh, that'll do. Good night, everybody.